The feint is one of the most important tools that any fighter could add to their bag. And it's important across the board, regardless of which martial art you're using. It could be striking, you could be boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, grappling, wrestling, karate, taekwondo. Doesn't really matter what martial art you're using. Street fight doesn't make a difference. One of the most important tools that you need to have in your bag ASAP, yesterday, if you don't already have it. Now, a feint is just simply when you're faking a strike. You're pretending that you're going to do something, but you don't do it. And for me, one of the best feints that I like to personally use is just a feint where I pretend that I'm going to get into range. The reason why that is because most of the time when you're in a fight with someone, your opponent is going to be standing slightly outside of your range. If your opponent is standing inside of your range, that means he can just reach up and hit you. And you don't want to be that close, because even if you can see the punch coming, chances are, if you long enough, if they keep throwing shots that way and you're right next to them, they're going to hit you eventually. There's no way that you're going to be able to react to every single punch that they're throwing. We're not Spider-Man. You can't just see everything coming and react immediately. Even if you are really good at predicting what punch is going to come, even then you still don't want to stand that close, because it's just risky regardless. So you want to stand slightly outside of range. You have to understand that when you want to strike someone, since you're slightly outside of range, and this is most people across the board, regardless of what sport you're in, when you're slightly outside of range, you have to get closer, then strike. So typically, a person's strikes are going to be mixed with covering ground and punching or kicking. So that little bit of covering ground, that's the part where you want to be feinting. You want to pretend to get closer, like you're going to strike them, but don't actually do anything. So that's like the best feint that you want to use. You could also use feints where you throw a jab and then you might fake the jab. You throw a cross and you might fake the cross. You throw a kick and you might fake the kick. Those are other kinds of feints that you could do as well. Now, let's get into more of the reasons why we should be feinting. That was just pretty much like an introduction to feinting, because that's just how I like to feint personally. I like to pretend to get closer, like I'm going to strike, and not actually strike. So, number one, the reason why you want to be feinting is to be unpredictable. What happens is when you're unpredictable, you're going to throw off your opponent's ability to defend themselves and their ability to counter you. Contrary to popular belief, most people aren't defending based on reactions. Most people are defending based on patterns and timing, downloading this data. When they understand your timing, when they understand the patterns that you're using, that's how they can start defending themselves. Because typically after a person throws a jab, they throw a cross. After a person throws a cross, they throw a hook. There's specific combos that people use over and over. And just to be as simple as possible, people just love to throw left, right, left, right, left, right. Am I right? Like if you throw your left, next is coming the right. And if you throw your right, next thing is coming is the left. Now, obviously, there are more advanced fighters who can mix it up more, double jab, then cross. Or, you seen Terrence Crawford fighting Canelo the other day. He threw a cross, or he threw like a cross and then a hook behind it or something like that. Like just a weird combo that you don't typically see. And it's hard to defend against those kinds of combos. But generally, the average fighter is throwing 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, because how many people are at the highest level? And even at the highest level, people are still not really doubling up on their shots. So that's a little fun fact right there. Double up on your shots if you want to be less defendable, right? So anyways, people are defending you based on patterns. You're using patterns and they're able to catch on to that. It's not that they're reacting to you. It's that you're throwing the same shots typically over and over. He knows when you go like this, the right hand is coming. When you go like this, the left hand is coming. So what you want to do is you want to add feints in there. Maybe sometimes you cock back and don't throw anything. Go like this, don't throw anything. Cover the ground, don't do anything. So what happens is now it's like the boy who cried wolf. This guy keeps doing it, he doesn't do anything. But then boom, you hit him. And he's like, damn, I didn't think he was actually going to do it, because he keeps feinting. So now you feint, you hit him. You feint, you hit him. You hit him twice. You feint once. You feint twice. You hit him once. You're mixing up the shots and feint patterns so that way he can never catch on to you. That's the best way for you to be unpredictable in a fight. Add feints to your game. And guess what? Because you're adding all these feints, now your opponent's not going to be able to counter you, because once again, in order for your opponent to counter you, you have to have done the same thing at least a couple times before he can see it. Or he's already watched footage on you where he knows that you like to throw this jab a lot. You like to throw this lead hook a lot. And then he can, okay, I know he's going to do this, so I'm going to counter him when he does it. But if you're adding in feints, he can never be sure when you're going to do something. So if you don't want to get countered, and believe me, if somebody counters you with a clean shot, it could be the end of the fight. So if you want to avoid being countered, you want to avoid being defended against, add feints to your game. And think about it like that. I want you to think this, because you might not always remember, oh yeah, Jonelle said to feint. Sometimes you might not remember. So this is going to be your cue when you're sparring or when you're fighting. When they defend you, when they counter, or even look like they're about to counter, I want you to be reminded, oh yeah, I got something for you. Because you defended me, because you countered me, or because you even thought about countering me, now I'm going to add feints so I could throw off your timing. That's your cue right there. Defense, counters, or counter attempts. That should be your cue. That lets you know right there, okay, let me add feints to my game. All right, so now, the next reason why you should be feinting, because there's 5 reasons altogether. I just went over 1. The next reason why you should be feinting is because you want to be able to set traps. You want to trick your opponent. Now let's just break down what I just talked about a second ago, and we're gonna reverse it, right? We're gonna go backwards on it now. Before, you didn't want to be predictable. You didn't want your opponent to be able to catch on to your timing and your rhythm, so that way they couldn't defend you. But now we want to be predictable. The reason why we want to be predictable is so that way we can set our opponent up and trick them and trap them, put them in a place that they don't want to be in. So for example, I throw my jab once or twice. This time I'm going to feint the jab because he thinks he caught on to my timing. Now when he goes to counter me, now I have a chance to feint, pull, counter him. Let's say he caught on to my timing. He knows I'm throwing my jab. So now he starts catching him. Boom, he's catching it. Boom, he catches it. He catches it. This time I fake. He goes to catch it. His hand is not home. I come around with the left hook. Boom. Or the lead hook for whatever stance that you're fighting. You want to be able to make your opponent catch on to what you're doing so that way you can use that information that he just gathered against him. It's mind games. We're playing mind games. We're playing chess. We're not playing checkers. If you fight smart, you'll be able to win. That's everything in life. The chances are if you fail at something is because you lack knowledge. This is the information that you need to be able to take your game mentally to the next level, your IQ to the next level. Always working on setting traps. You want to be predictable or unpredictable on your terms, right? Because the better fighter that you are, the more you're doing things voluntarily. The more you're doing things involuntarily, you just happen. The worse of a fighter you are. When you do something, you want it to be on purpose. So when if he's able to predict us, it's on purpose. When he's not able to predict us, it's on purpose. Everything that we're doing is on purpose, not by accident. That's what being a smart fighter is about. So now we're gonna move on to the next one for foresight. Now, here's what happens is when you feint, typically your opponent is gonna let you know what he was about to do, right? Let's say, for example, I feint the jab. My opponent goes like this. He goes to do the pull cross, right? He's going to pull the punch and throw across. And now I've seen it, right? I saw the little twist now. Now I know you want to do that pull cross. So now I got something for you, right? So now maybe I might throw an actual jab so he can pull cross, and I might duck, come up with an uppercut. Or I might jab cross, follow through with the cross. If you guys watched Floyd Mayweather versus Marcos Maidana, Floyd Mayweather loves to do the pull cross. Pull cross is like one of the most simple and most effective counters, right? You just pull your head back from the jab and you come back with your cross. Well, Floyd loves to do that. And when Floyd was fighting Marcos Maidana, Floyd actually got his tooth knocked out for using that. He pulled, and when he went to come back with the cross, Maidana didn't stop with the jab. He followed through, boom, with his own cross. And Floyd got caught, boom. Kind of like stumbled him a little bit too. And to this day, I'm pretty sure he wears Floyd's tooth as a necklace around his neck. So yeah, you want to be able to see what your opponent's going to do. In order for you to see what they're going to do, use feints. When you feint, sometimes, for example, you feint, they might catch. You feint, they might back away. You're getting knowledge, you're getting information. This is how this guy likes to react. You get to know, okay, he reacts in this way before you ever even strike him. So maybe you want to throw that cross, but you don't know how he's going to react to that cross just yet. Maybe you studied footage on him and you might not have to do this, but if you're in the street or maybe, you're an amateur fighter, you didn't get to study him. You don't know what he's going to do. You get to download information by adding feints to your game. It tells you what they were going to do if you had really thrown it. What is their mindset? Are they going to just stand there? Are they going to back away? Are they going to counter you? Add feints to your game for foresight. You want to see the future? This is what you do. Add feints to your game. Now, the fourth point is you want to be able to use feints because here's the key when it comes to fighting. When it comes to fighting, distance management is everything. You need to be able to manage your range and you want to maintain space around you. And what I mean by that is there's typically always going to be some space in front of you. That's where your opponent is. And more often than not, there's going to be space to your left and to your right. But what happens is a lot of times you can run out of space behind you. You can be backed up to a wall, backed up to a car, backed up to the ropes, cage, whatever. And we want to be able to create space. So it's important that we use feints, because feints, most of the time, not every time, but a lot of times, feints will back your opponent up. If you throw a good feint, your opponent's going to give you a little bit of space, or at the very least, he's going to stop coming forward for a split second. That split second can be the difference between you being able to get off the wall or you being stuck on the wall, right? So he's walking you down. If you have nothing for him, he's going to keep walking. But if you feint, he stops for a split second. You use that split second to circle off. You feint and then you fire at him. You feint, you smother, turn him, whatever you want to do. So if you want to back your opponent up, use feints. Sometimes this guy's really aggressive. You don't want to just be moving your feet, because if you're just moving your feet, eventually your opponent's going to lose respect for you. If you're just circling around them, they're going to lose respect. You have to make them respect you. Sometimes feint, sometimes jab cross. They unpredictable. Feint, jab cross, feint, jab, feint, smother, turn them. Add those feints in when you're moving your feet. You're moving your feet, feint, moving your feet, feint, feint. Add that in. That'll back your opponent up, or at the very least stop them from moving forward. Which brings me to my next point. Sometimes when you're fighting, you have to be able to maintain conditioning, right? Conditioning is key in a fight. People look at fighting like fighting is just punch, rock'em, sock'em, robot. Fighting is basically a cardio sport. Fighting for anything longer than 20 to 30 seconds, you're going to be breathing hard. So imagine fighting 10 3-minute rounds as a boxer, 12 3-minute rounds as a champion, or fighting for a belt as a boxer, 3 5-minute rounds as an MMA fighter, or 5 5-minute rounds as if you're fighting for a belt or you're the main event in an MMA fight. That's a long time to be fighting. You need to develop strategies that you can use in a fight to breathe and catch your breath. Obviously, you have to work hard, but you always have to find that moment to breathe for a second, because no one can sprint forever. You need to be able to rest. So what feints do for you, like in the last point, it backs them up. It stops them in the track for a moment. And you can use that moment to catch your breath. You might be able to keep somebody at bay for 30 seconds without actually doing anything with just feints while you catch your breath. Move around, feint, feint, breathe, catch your breath, feint again. These are things that you can be doing to buy yourself some time. And you need that time sometimes to catch your breath, to download data for whatever it might be, but especially breathing, right? Sometimes you smother them and breathe. Sometimes you feint, move your feet and breathe. But using your feints to buy yourself some time is a great strategy, as opposed to just doing nothing. At least you're busy, right? Like the judges want to see that you're working. You want to know that you're working. You want to keep your momentum going, right? Like you don't want to lose momentum and lose your work ethic in the fight. You want to be able to stay busy, breathe. Feint. Doesn't take too much energy. And here's the thing. If you're going to be able to pull this off in a fight, you have to train this, guys. Those are the 5 points, but you need to train this. This can't be something that's just like, oh, I'm going to do it when it comes time to fight. No, this has to be a staple. If your jab is a staple, if your footwork is a staple, feints are a staple in your game. I would even argue feints might be probably I might put feints above jabs, honestly. Feints might be the most important tool that you have in your toolbox when it comes to any combat sport, period. You need feints. Feints are super important. Look at Israel Adesanya. Look at Sean O'Malley. Look at Merab. Merab's constantly feinting. Look at the best fighters in the world. They're always feinting. You need to add feints to your game. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe. Show some, send this to a friend who might need it. It's educational stuff. Remember, we're playing chess. We're not playing checkers. I do have training programs for you guys. It'll be linked right in the bio. I'll be adding in a feint mastery program so you guys can work on your feints. All right. So have a good one, guys. Till next time.